All right, so today we're digging into an economic blueprint, but it comes from a place you might not expect, an ancient religious text. We're going to break down this framework called Kingdonomics, which, believe it or not, proposes a whole model for transforming society, and it's all built on a mission statement that's 2,000 years old. Let's see what it's all about.
This right here, this is the verse that kicks the whole thing off. It's quoted by Jesus from the book of Isaiah, and it's presented as way more than just a spiritual idea. It's treated as the foundational mandate for an entire economic and social philosophy. Seriously, every single concept we're about to unpack stems directly from these specific goals.
And that really brings us to the central question for this whole explainer. Is it really possible? Can a mission focused on the poor, prisoners, the blind, and the oppressed actually offer a workable framework for today's incredibly complex economies? Well, let's dive in and see what the source material has to say.
So everything really does hinge on that one mission statement. It's not just presented as some nice words, it's framed as the actual catalyst for what the framework calls a total societal transformation. That is a bold claim. So to really get it, we first have to be crystal clear on what this concept actually is.
So, what is Kingdonomics when you get right down to it?
Okay, so the crucial thing to understand here is that Kingdonomics isn't some rigid set of laws. It's a conceptual framework. Think of it as a way of looking at economics that puts empowerment and social change first, all viewed through the lens of that original mission to serve these very specific groups of people.
Now that we have a handle on what it is, the framework gets super specific about who it's for. The entire mission is really built around a mandate to serve 4 distinct groups. So let's break down who they are and what this philosophy is trying to do for each of them.
First up, the poor. The approach here isn't just about charity or handouts. The goal is to provide a holistic truth that can actually break the cycle of poverty. Now, what's really interesting is that phrase, especially in the midst of plenty. That suggests this framework sees poverty not just as a lack of resources, but as a deep systemic problem.
Second, we have the captives. And this idea is way broader than just physical prisoners. It includes people who are trapped by trauma, stuck in cycles of debt and poverty, held back by a lack of knowledge, or even caught up in illegal activities. The goal here is a freedom that's both spiritual and very, very practical. The third group is the blind. And again, this is meant both literally and metaphorically. The source material suggests that things like poverty and oppression can create a kind of blindness to opportunity and truth. And the proposed cure for that? Knowledge. Knowledge that restores a clear worldview, free from all that corruption and confusion. And finally, the oppressed. This is where the framework is most direct about tackling systemic issues. This part of the mission is all about liberating people who are poor, specifically because, as the source puts it, they are being exploited by unjust economic systems and unfair instruments of power.
So, the framework is really clear on who needs help, but how? How does it propose to actually create that change? Well, it outlines this 3-part economic cycle, 3 pillars of action that are designed to build a just economy from the ground up.
It all starts with righteous production, so creating wealth through honest work. That wealth then flows into peaceful distribution, where resources get shared justly. And it all ends with joyful consumption, where people can enjoy the fruits of their labor in a mindful way. You see, it's a complete cyclical vision for how an economy should work.
And this chart just lays out the ethical lines so clearly. The Kingdonomics approach is all about creating wealth through honest and just means, not through stealing. It calls for peaceful, fair sharing, completely rejecting greed. And it promotes consumption that's guided by good principles and well-being, not by lust and pride. It's a really stark moral contrast.
Okay, so we've seen who this framework is for and the economic cycle it's proposing. But where does all of this lead? What's the ultimate goal here, the real end game for this entire system?
While the goal is for those 4 groups we talked about to see their situations completely reversed, for them to break free from poverty, be restored from captivity, regain their vision, and be liberated from oppression. And that final point broadens the whole scope. It's about empowering every single community or every tribe and tongue to not just get by, but to actually thrive. And at its absolute heart, the ultimate purpose is philosophical, even spiritual. It's about translating a divine ideal, this idea of a will being done in heaven, into a tangible reality right here on earth. The end product is supposed to be a society that actively reflects values like love,
goodness, and, maybe most importantly for economics, justice for everyone.
So, this Kingdomomics framework makes a pretty bold claim that a 2,000-year-old mission statement has a viable blueprint for today's economic problems. Whether you see it as a practical model or simply a powerful philosophical ideal, it definitely leaves us with a compelling question to think about. What if an ancient text really does hold a key to modern economic justice?